Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you our 2012 college football preview for the FBS independents. That's your Notre Dame, BYU, Army, and Navy. So let's just jump right into this video by starting with the recruiting trail to see how well these teams recruited this past offseason. Notre Dame gets the top recruiting class, in my opinion, year in, year out. This team can go across the country and grab talented players to help out their roster. But the guy that stands out the most is Gunnar Kill, the quarterback. This guy reminds me a lot of Jake Locker that played out there in Washington. What he brings to the table is the running ability, and he also has a very strong arm. And with his athleticism, you plug him into that quarterback position right now for Notre Dame, and it's instantly a better team. You've already seen what you're going to get out the quarterbacks that are in front of him. My suggestion, start the young guy, go with the youth movement, and get a lot out of that young talent you already have on the roster. I can't wait to see Josh Weeks for BYU. This guy is 6'4", 200 pounds. You see the strength right there after the catch. He also has the added element of being a great punt returner and kickoff returner. You see right there the size to get downfield, the linear speed, and that's what you need. He's a prototypical BYU wide receiver, and I think he's going to do fine out there in Provo, Utah. I'm excited to see how this kid's going to play. I think he really has a legitimate shot to get on the field as a true freshman. I like what I see out of Michael McFadden, the safety, 6'1", 180 pounds, that's signed with the Army Black Knights. I think he's going to do a great job in that secondary, and they're looking to rebuild a secondary that had some losses last season. I think this guy, versatile athlete, you see right there, he played running back, he played receiver, he played on the defensive side of the football, so he brings that speed, that range, that athleticism to the safety position, and he's going to be a fine player for the Black Knights in the future. When you run the option attack like Navy does, you need to be well stocked at the running back position. Tony O'Gully is a guy that I can see playing the slot back, getting those pitches, going around the end, and having that speed to take it the distance. So I think this is a great signing for the Navy Midshipmen. He's going to produce a lot of big plays for that offense. I think BYU has the best quarterback situation for the independents. You look at Riley Nelson, what he brings to the table is his athleticism. He can play in the West Coast offense, and what makes him dangerous is his ability to leave the pocket. That just opens up more opportunities for everyone in the running game and also in the passing game. So when you look at the situations of Notre Dame, Navy, and Army, all have legitimate quarterback questions. BYU is coming into the season without those, and he has a veteran group of receivers, so this offense should take flight, which is why I think they have the best QBs in the conference. Yes, I know Army runs a triple option, but they have a stable of talent in the backfield, quarterback included. When you look at the reason why they were top in the nation, or close to the top in rushing the football, is because of their backfield. Guys like Raymond Maples, Jared Hanson, Larry Dixon, the fullback, and they get a healthy Trent Stillman back for a full season. You have to like the running game for the Army Black Knights. These guys can run the football on practically anybody in the country. I really like the receiving core of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and all they need is consistent play from the quarterback position. They have some very talented guys out there. T.J. Jones, Robbie Toma is another very talented guy. Got a chance to play a lot last year. He's a senior, number 9, coming back again. And also Tyler Eifert. You have to talk about Eifert because he was a first-team All-American last year, flirted with the NFL, came back. This guy is going to be a future NFL draft selection, may even be a first-rounder. So they collectively have the best core of receivers in the FBS independents. They just need consistent play from the QB spot. If they can get that this season, look out, Notre Dame's passing attack will put up huge numbers. I have to give credit to the offensive line of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You look at guys like Chris Watt, Braxton Cave, the senior, and also Zach Martin, the left tackle. You toss in very versatile guys like Mike Golick Jr. This guy can play guard or center. So I think the Irish offensive line will do a great job this year in opening up holes for the running game and also keeping whoever's going to be back there at quarterback well protected. It's all about the quarterback being able to consistently make plays downfield, but the offensive line of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish is clearly the FBS independent's best. I know they lose Aaron Lynch, and that's a huge loss for this Notre Dame Fighting Irish defensive line, but you have to give credit to the guys that are there. I think they still are very stout up front with Capron Lewis Moore, a senior, 6'4", 306, a very good 5 technique. Should see some NFL draft opportunities. Lewis Nix, the nose guard, sophomore, played a lot last year, 6'3", 326 pounds. So I think up front they're going to be stout because they have some very talented linebackers. And I'm not showing bias in Notre Dame. They are just a very talented ball club. BYU clearly has one of the best linebacking corps, not only in the FBS independents, but maybe in the country. You look at Kyle Vanoy. This guy is a tremendous player. 6'3", 235, can cover, can tackle, and is a tremendous leader on their defense. But don't forget about middle linebacker Una Kiavinga. This guy transferred from USC, second team All-Independent, and also Brandon Ogletree. These guys can really play football. I'm excited to see how this defense is going to do again this season. The secondary of the Navy Midshipmen gets my vote for the best secondary in the FBS independents. These guys are always flying around the football, and they present a lot of size, which also presents a lot of matchup problems for opposing offenses. Guys like David Sperry, a corner, 5'11", 182. Paris Gaines is 6'2", 196. And in the safety position, you have Chris Ferguson and also Travaris Bush. Both guys are tremendous hitters and are always around the football. And you have to keep in mind with Navy, they don't get the pass rush that most teams get. So these guys are actually making plays on the football. That's why I think they have the best secondary out of the 4 FBS independents. BYU returns 2 outstanding kickers to their special teams unit, which is why I give them the title of having the best special teams in the FBS independents. You look at Justin Sorensen, outstanding kicker, and also does a great job with kickoffs. And punter Riley Stevenson, this guy averages over 41.5 yards a punt last year, gets great height and distance on his punts, and was also first team All-Independent last year. And these guys also have very solid return units. So overall, kicking, punting, and returning, BYU has the best. Best pro prospect has to be Monte Teo, the linebacker for Notre Dame. This guy's been a stud since he stepped foot on campus out there in South Bend. And rarely do you see a linebacker nowadays that can attack downhill, brings the power when he tackles, and also can get back there in coverage. He's also scheme versatile. He can play in a 4-3 as a middle. He also can play an inside position in a 3-4 defense. So this is a guy that opens himself up to many different teams as far as where he can play. He doesn't have to be relegated to a certain defense. So I think right now Monte Teo is a high first-round pick in my opinion because he has the talent, the skill set, and also the versatility. Tyler Eifert out of Notre Dame gets my vote for the offensive MVP for the FBS independents. And honestly, he could have easily been the best pro prospect because he could have came out last year. This guy had over 800 yards receiving for the Irish, and I think he's going to increase that this year. He's probably going to cross the 1,000-yard threshold. He just gets better with time. I love the way he plays. I like the way he's aggressive across the middle, and this has been a running theme throughout the whole video. If the quarterback play of Notre Dame increases and gets consistent, this could be a dangerous offense, so that's why I give Tyler Eifert the nod as my offensive MVP. Defensive MVP, I look at Kyle Vanoy out of BYU. This guy is always around the football. You can't stress that enough. A linebacker that's versatile. He can cover, and he also can rush the passer. So this guy has that versatility that you want out of a player in this day and age playing against those spread offenses. I think this is a tremendous player in the country and is going to be a very sound player this year for the Cougars. First, the good news for Army. I like the fact that Trent Stillman is back 100% and healthy and ready to go. So they're going to be able to run the football on everybody they face, and they'll be able to control the clock. So that bodes well for this team willing to win. Plus, this is a team that gets 7 home games, so they have a chance to pull off an upset or two to get back on the plus side of victories. The bad news, I don't see the threat in the passing game. When you run an option offense, you have to have at least one threat that you can throw the football to. That's a question that remains unanswered. And defensively, they lost a lot of talented guys off a defense that was very tough last year, in my opinion. So there are some questions going into this season, but Army, again, will be able to run the football, and that will keep you in a lot of ball games. BYU is one of these ball clubs that you do not want to face when you see them on your schedule because they're going to be tough and physical throughout the ball game. What I like most about BYU is the fact that they have sound special teams and return units, the kicking game. Also, the West Coast offense thrives when they have a mobile quarterback that adds a different element to it. And Riley Nelson doesn't have to compete with Jake Heaps, so he's going to have a very good season. Defensively, they will be able to get after the quarterback, and that's always a plus. The problem is the running game. They got to find a threat in the backfield. Otherwise, they have virtually no questions on offense. But people expect BYU to take a step back this year. I don't think so. I look at the schedule. I see Utah and Boise State in September. I think they can beat Utah and they catch Boise State in the down year. This is a team that could realistically be 7-0 by the time they go to Notre Dame. there's a lot of optimism going into the season for the Navy Midshipmen. I like the way the schedule sets up, and they're trying to make their 9th bowl game in their 10th season. Now, look at what they have on the table. The strengths are they can run the football. They have a very veteran late and a big offensive line. Defensively, the linebackers and secondary are very solid and stout, so they'll be able to fly around the football and make a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. The question marks are the quarterback position and the defensive line. Can Trey Miller step up and make plays in the passing game? They have some very solid and big wide receivers that can make plays. Can he make plays throwing the football? Can the defensive line hold their own at the point of attack enough to create opportunities for the outside rushers, the rovers, and things like that, things of that nature to get to the quarterback? If so, then Navy will be able to make it 9 bowl appearances in 10 seasons. There's always optimism and expectation for the Fighting Irish football team, and this year is no different. You look at the strengths they have. They're very strong on both sides of the line of scrimmage, in my opinion. One guy we didn't mention about the defensive line was Stephon Tuitt, a third-team All-American last year. Look at the linebacking core, Monte Teo. Keep an eye on sophomore Ishaq Williams. I gave him a high grade last year as an incoming freshman. He should see extended time this year and put up some phenomenal numbers as an outside rusher in that 3-4 defense. The question has to fall on the QB position. Can he get consistency out that position? If so, this team can go far. Another question is the schedule. They have some very tough road games and also some tough home games. Hell, they open up with the very tough road game in Dublin, Ireland versus a Navy team that poses some problems for that Irish defense as far as the option attack. So Notre Dame has some questions, they have some concerns, but they do have a lot of talent on this year's roster, and I think if the QB position comes together, this could be a special season in South Bend.